This is a small attempt from Department of Biology ASC Independent PU College to come up with few videos that are considered to be important with respect to your board examinations. This video is all about the structure of DNA, one of the very important question asked for 5 marks from the chapter Molecular Basis of Inheritance. The question could be posed in this way: explain the salient features of the double helical DNA, or simply explain briefly the structure of double helical DNA. As we all know, DNA is our genetic material. DNA stands for deoxyribose nucleic acid. This DNA is made up of 2 polynucleotide strands. Each polynucleotide strands are wound together in such a way that it forms a helix, hence the name double helical DNA. Each polynucleotide strand is made up of many monomers called nucleotides. Each nucleotide has a pentose sugar, a nitrogen base, and a phosphate group. In case of DNA, the pentose sugar is deoxyribose sugar. To this deoxyribose sugar, a nitrogen base and a phosphate group is attached. When a deoxyribose sugar, or simply when a pentose sugar is attached to a nitrogen base, it is called as a nucleoside. When a phosphate group attaches to a nucleoside, it is collectively called as nucleotide. So many such nucleotides, in case of DNA, we call them as deoxyribonucleotides, make up the polynucleotide strand. The backbone of the DNA is made up of alternating sugar and phosphate units. As we can see in this picture, the backbone of the DNA has a sugar, which is deoxyribose sugar, followed by phosphate molecule, which is followed by another sugar unit, and that is followed by another phosphate group, so on and so forth. So the nucleotide backbone, the polynucleotide strand backbone is basically has alternating sugar and phosphate units. The sugar and the phosphate units are joined together via phosphodiester bonds. If we can see here, the 5th carbon atom of the pentose sugar is attached to a phosphate group. Similarly, the OH group of the 3rd carbon atom of the same pentose sugar is attached to another phosphate group. So the sugar and the phosphates are joined together via phosphodiester bonds. Because of these phosphodiester linkages, we see alternating sugar-phosphate backbone. The 1st carbon atom of the pentose sugar has an OH group, which is attached to a nitrogen base. Always, the OH group of the 1st carbon atom attaches to the nitrogen base, thus forming a nucleotide subunit, where we have a nitrogen base, a pentose sugar, and a phosphate group. Nitrogen bases in DNA are of 2 types, the purines and the pyrimidines. Purines are adenine and guanine. Pyrimidines are cytosine and thymine. So each nucleotide will have one or the other nitrogen base. In case one of the polynucleotide strand has guanine, then on the adjacent strand, we always see a cytosine. So guanine always binds to cytosine via 3 hydrogen bonds. Similarly, adenine always binds to thymine via 2 hydrogen bonds. So in DNA, the nitrogen bases are bound together via hydrogen bonds. And the bonding is very specific. The hydrogen bonds are always formed between a purine and a pyrimidine, or a pyrimidine and a purine. We never see bonds or hydrogen bonds between 2 pyrimidines or 2 purines. As mentioned earlier, always a purine binds to a pyrimidine. Adenine and thymine binds together via 2 hydrogen bonds. Guanine and cytosine are bound together via 3 hydrogen bonds. As we have understood that the sugar and the phosphate backbone is linked together via phosphodiester bonds, the 2 nitrogen bases are linked together via hydrogen bonds. There is another bond that exists in the DNA called the glycosidic bond. We see this bond between pentose sugar and the nitrogen base. The OH group of the first carbon atom of pentose sugar is found attached to the nitrogen base via a linkage called the glycosidic bonds. So overall, DNA has 3 bonds: phosphodiester bond between sugar and phosphate, an N-glycosidic bond between sugar and nitrogen base, and hydrogen bonds between 2 nitrogen bases. As we see in the picture, the 2 polynucleotide strands are bound together via hydrogen bonds. Looking at this picture, we clearly understand that the nitrogen base are projecting inside, whereas the phosphate groups and the sugar moieties are found outside. And the 2 polynucleotide strands, they run anti-parallel to each other. One strand runs from 5' to 3', then the other strand runs from 3' to 5'. This explains anti-parallelity of DNA. The amount of purines is always equal to the amount of pyrimidines, because as we all know, always a purine binds to a pyrimidine. So number of purines will always be equal to number of pyrimidines. This was explained by Charagaff, hence it is called the Charagaff's rule of base equivalence, where the nitrogen bases amounts remain equal. Amount of purines are always equal to the amount of pyrimidines. The double helical DNA makes 2 grooves called the major groove and a minor groove. The pitch of the DNA, also called the turn of the DNA, is around 3.4 nanometer in length. So roughly 1 turn or 1 pitch of the DNA has 10 base pairs. The distance between the 2 base pairs is found to be 0.34 nanometer. and the diameter of the DNA helix is found to be 2 nanometer. So when salient features of double helix structure of DNA is asked, you're supposed to mention these points along with mentioning the structure of the nucleotide. Just mention that a nucleotide is made up of a nitrogen base, a pentose sugar, and a phosphate group. So these 5 points, as explained with respect to the salient features, will easily help you in fetching 5 marks if this question is being asked. I hope this video was helpful to all of you. Thank you.